growing up, because at the time, like, I'm always like a doer, like, and sometimes over the years, I felt like
Overdue.
I have taught people how to treat me because I was a people pleaser, and because we started out as adolescents. I was always doing all the time,
Mm.
and that just it just transitioned into our adulthood. So like the biggest thing that happened, like, we had started an Airbnb business, we had properties, all that, and because I'm always a doer, she felt like she was doing, but she really wasn't. She was not helping.
Yeah.
Like, it's like every time that I would get like a bartending job, I would always put her on. Every time, like, I would but that's just how I am. So like, because I want all my friends to do good, and I've been like that since I was a kid. So and she just never was like that. Never. She never put me on to not $1, no nothing. But I don't think that she felt like she
Needed to.
needed to do that for me, because I was
Yeah.
always doing that because that was my
Yeah.
position. So a lot of the times we can say whatever, but I think our behavior, we enable people how to treat us or how the dynamic is. So there's polarity in relationships. So in friendships, in relationships, all of those things. So it was like, that was like, I guess, like, our thing. But yeah, like, I found out as I'm, doing things and accomplishing goals and all of these things, like, I want to say, like, probably within the last 5 years, I've upgraded, like, my car, where I lived in Tampa. Like, I moved from, like, outside, like, suburbs to, like, downtown high rise apartment, all that. Then got a new job, did all these things, graduated college twice. She never came to not one graduation party. So I was like, okay, bet. Never, not a congratulations, no proud of you. But when I brought it up in conversation, she would tell me, like, oh, yes, I am proud of you, but the actions would never show that. And then it was just, if I changed, she would always believe negative about me and want to hear negative about you. You know what I'm saying? So it was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. And I even tried, like, this was like when I first started going to therapy, I even tried to talk, like, what do you need for me to help us do whatever? And I'm like, we may need to go to therapy. She said she doesn't believe in therapy. So she was like, she doesn't think that her childhood and her adulthood is a connector with trauma. So I already knew right there that we're not on the
You ain't
same
gonna
page, and
win.
that's okay.
Yep.
Because you can't really force people to be where you are. You have to leave them
Mm-hmm.
where they are at and move forward. So that's
You
kind
ain't
of just
lying.
where I was
You ain't lying.
with
You're
friendships. So
spitting
my
real
discernment
game.
started like 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Listen, I hear it. But it's really interesting though, because obviously you said you're an anxious attachment. I'm avoidant, right? And I find it so interesting because we spoke about this when we did a video about B Simone and Megan Ashley and their relationship. They are the avoidant and the anxious person, and oftentimes the
Mm-hmm.
anxious person is a mirror of the avoidant in terms of doing things differently, but we seek control in a different way, right? Like I have a best friend who's
Right.
also anxious. So her way of kind of showing affection is to try and organize everything, right? But she triggers
Mm.
me because I'm an avoidant and I feel like I'm being you're making it claustrophobic. So you're doing too much, right? But
Mm.
the anxious person just wants to just show that they're helpful. They see a problem, they want to solve it. They want to just they
Right.
want to make sure that you're good, right? And
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes they are always having the person on the forefront of their mind. The avoidant doesn't have that person on the forefront. They
Right.
oftentimes have making sure they protect themselves first, and it becomes a very vicious cycle in that space. So it's quite interesting to hear your experience about being in a friendship where the person didn't necessarily give as much back to you as well. I can understand that can be
Yeah,
very
she did. But
painful as
she
well.
has an avoidant personality. She avoids
Mm,
conflict. Like, we were trying to get like a couch for one of our properties, and it came like third party from Amazon, but it had a UPS sticker. And instead of going to the couch, she went to the counter, and the lady was like, hey, she was like, I let this couch go because the address was not on here. So we can't let it sit in the lobby. It was like huge. So she goes to call UPS. So the lady calls UPS to bring it back. So UPS didn't bring it there though. Amazon brought it there. So now we have a lost couch. So she's on the so she leaves and she takes the lady's word for face value. So she leaves and she's on the phone with UPS. And I'm like, what are you on the phone with UPS for? So I go to the desk and I politely say, hey, I understand you're doing your job. Thank you so much. You guys have a UPS driver that comes here every day. Can you call him to have him drop that thing back off? And that's all she had to do. But she anticipated the girl arguing back and forth with her. So
Pushback.
her immediate was to retreat and try to handle it over here when that wasn't the
Yeah.
case. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and she does that time and time, like even like issues that we have, like I don't know. It was just a lot like that I discovered after like I'm uncovering things about myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a lot. It was a lot.
I can understand that. I can understand that. That's a fair point. So obviously, then